Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide. Welcome to today's episode of the podcast with Cindy and Alison. Today we're going to talk about a topic that some people find to be rather sensitive, but I think we agreed when we spoke to each other offline that it needs to be talked about. Right, Alison?
It does. It's a very important topic, I feel, in today's world.
It is an important topic, and what we're going to talk about has to do with gender and people's sensitivity about when children do things or participate in activities that older generations than them tend to assign to one gender or the other. How's that? How'd I phrase that?
That's good.
Okay. I'm trying to be sensitive and not just kind of blurt out right or wrong according to my opinion. But I think that we do need to talk about it. And it's something, honestly, that I've encountered my entire career. I've been working with young children for more than 20 years. And it's a kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a shame that this is still a topic, I think.
Yeah.
But I do know that teachers struggle with helping parents to feel okay about when they see either boys doing things that have been typically assigned in the past to girls or vice versa.
Yes. I'm trying to think of my words here because I think there are some adults that still think that certain roles are assigned according to gender, and that kind of trickles down.
There aren't. I feel like in the year 2018, we should be understanding that there are certain things that are biological and there are other things that are choice, and shaming a child for doing something that makes us maybe uncomfortable in our generation is not helping anybody. Right.
Well, you should accept your child for who they are, no matter who that is.
Right. And if a boy goes in, I think people need to understand, how about this? I think people need to understand the purpose of pretend play.
Yeah.
Let's start there. Children pretend to get an understanding of their world because they are very egocentric, which means they only see the world from their own point of view. In order to understand something, they really do have to embody it.
Yes.
So people may not talk about it all that much, unfortunately, but it is really common, for example, for little boys to put on clothes we would assign typically to girls.
Yes.
And it is really common on the other side for little girls to do something, go over and put on something a role that we would have typically assigned to a man. And I find, I don't know about you, Alison, but I find that when a little girl goes over and puts on something that in the past was typically assigned to a man, something like a construction worker outfit, people think that's really cute and applaud it.
Yeah, they do.
But if a boy were to go and do something like that and go over and put on the princess dress, people don't applaud it.
Correct. And I don't know why that is. Like, typically I find that when a girl is putting on, say, a construction worker outfit, people don't think anything of it. It's just like, okay, she's playing, no big deal. But when a boy puts on a princess outfit, it's like, oh my God, he can't do that.
Right.
He's not allowed to do that. And it's like, but why not? Why can't he do that? It's okay to do that, and it's not just because he wears that. He's just pretending. He's pretending just like the girl is pretending to be a construction worker.
I think the most important message that we could get across in these 15 minutes or so on, again, what is a really sensitive topic, and I know that people have a variety of opinions about this. I get that. But
Right.
For me, here's the bottom line. I don't ever want to make children feel ashamed, and I'm just going to leave it right there. How about that?
I don't. Yeah.
I don't ever want to make children feel embarrassed and ashamed because of my own reactions.
Right. And I want children to be comfortable being who they are, no matter who that is, no
Right.
matter what,
It,
you
it,
know?
they
So,
are who they are.
yeah.
It's,
Um,
just, I just don't want them to feel shame.
right.
Shame is a very limiting emotion. And it
Yeah.
will, if they are 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, and we introduce self-shame to them, what have we done?
What have we done? Yeah. I want them, I want the children to feel comfortable coming to me no matter what. So if I start shaming them for wearing a princess dress one day, why on earth would they come to talk to me about anything?
And
You
then they
know?
become self-conscious at a very young
Mhm.
age.
At a young age, and then they can't be who they want to be.
That's right. They can't.
Yeah.
They
They're,
will lack self-esteem.
yeah.
They will struggle to trust adults.
Yeah.
They won't have people who they feel are safe. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think children need to know that their families and their teachers are safe people,
Yeah.
and that they can be themselves, and that they have value. And I fear for children who are made to feel less than by the age of 3 or 4.
Right. Because when you're 3 and 4, you should just be experiencing life freely.
Right, but this
Not
isn't
worried about, like, oh, if I wear this pink shirt or whatever it is, that I'm going to get judged.
right. Because ultimately, I don't care what the topic is, if it's gender. I don't care what the topic is. If I, as an adult, am shaming a child about something, I have done them a terrible disservice.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be really careful about that. One of the things that they teach you when you study cultural competency is to examine your own biases. We all have biases. We all were raised with biases. But when I'm interacting with young children, I have to be aware of them so that I can put them aside.
Right. I think being aware of them is half the battle. If you're aware of them, then you can interact a little differently.
Right. And I think that one of the things that people tend to have a lot of bias about is this, and a lot of fear about is this. If we could stop being afraid of what we see and learn to embrace what we see, we could do so much better by these young children.
Well, I think you have to accept and embrace who they are. Like, and I find, like, there was one little girl that I worked with, and she used to wear boys' underwear.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's a good example.
yes, this is a very good example.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hey, that's cool. I mean, underwear's underwear. Who cares, right? That's my opinion. But there was a teacher that thought it was wrong that her mother allowed her to do that.
I tell you what, I applaud that mother.
I applaud that mother because she was allowing her little girl to be who she was.
That's right.
No matter what.
And we didn't
the girl
always
likes
know this.
Thomas the Tank Engine, so she wanted Thomas the Tank Engine underwear.
I think
I mean,
I think
what's
it's one of the
the deal?
beautiful things about this generation and this young
Yeah.
generation of parents, because my kids are in their early 20s, and I can tell you that we didn't know all this back then.
Right.
We didn't have as much knowledge or understanding of acceptance back when my kids were little, but now it exists. And again, I applaud the younger generation for teaching us about acceptance in the area in which I live anyway, on the East Coast. Where I live, where Alison lives, we live in a place where people are fairly accepting, I think, for people.
I think so.
For people.
Yeah.
I think people are fairly accepting and understanding, and I think it's something that I've learned from younger people.
Yeah.
I credit my own 2 children with teaching me. And their friends, and I feel like there are certain things that we all have to learn, and this is one of them. I don't think that it's right for older generations than them to simply go, nope, because we're hurting kids.
Right. But that's kind of, it seems sometimes to be a generation gap sometimes, like, and that's just, we need to almost like educate that no, it's okay for her to be who she wants to be. It's okay for him to wear a princess dress. It's
And
okay.
her to wear boys' underwear.
And
you know
her
what?
to wear boys' underwear. It's okay.
It doesn't make them any less valuable as a human being or a member of our society. And I know that this is politically charged for some people and religiously charged for some people. But I think that it's important for those of us who advocate for young children to say that we're not going to stand for shaming them.
Yeah. And if you allow children to be who they are, imagine the contributions that they could have to our society.
It would be
But
amazing.
it's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe we'd have less teenagers cutting themselves, doing other self-harming activities, seeking relief, from, drugs and alcohol. Maybe we would have more people just happy with who they are and able to
Happy
achieve.
with who they are.
Yeah.
And achieve.
Right?
I mean, there's some sad things going on with the teenage children nowadays, with the cutting and the risk taking and the suicide even. Like,
it's really bad.
Really scary.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Just take them for who, love them for who they are.
Yeah, I really want to, before we sign off here, I want to say to people who may be struggling with this, that your kids are still your kids, and they need you, and they need you to be their safe place. So I hope that you can dig deep, seek whatever help you need to do that, be their safe place to land. Because they absolutely need that from you. The rest of the world isn't going to be so kind all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Okay, so maybe on another episode we'll do something a little lighter. What do you think? That was heavy.
Yeah, I think that was pretty heavy.
That was really heavy.
Yeah.
We hope that you do subscribe. Some of our episodes are heavy, some not so heavy.
Not so heavy. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we hope that you will listen again or listen to past episodes that maybe you didn't catch.